Alright, 3, 2, 1. Hello, YouTube. This is Cody with Search My Deck, TCG. Here we are bringing you another card profile. This time today we're looking at Sableye V. As mentioned, in case this is your first of these, before I'm kind of trying to look at just a couple cards of Sword and Shield, the upcoming set that I am interested in. Things that could be possible good cards with some upside and how I would play them, but not necessarily the top cards everyone's excited about. Again, not cards that may not be terrible, they're not the super hyped cards, at least not the ones I'm looking at first. Maybe I'll take a look at those down the road or change how I do the series. But at first, I'm just kind of looking at some of the lesser talked about cards, at least from what I know. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm in the wrong crowds and everyone's hyping these cards. Who knows? So for now, we are looking at Sableye V. Sableye is a Pokemon I've never really liked. I always thought it was kind of weird and kind of ugly and just and I've never liked playing in the games, and even with Mega Sableye, even if it was kind of okay, just never liked it. And it had some interesting cards. Of course, there's Sable Garb. I hate having to deal with Sable Garb, so that's just kind of left a meh taste in my mouth. But this card looks really good. I like the gym aesthetic, and just the darkness cards look really good. Just the black looks the best with the V logo too. So, moving on, what this card does, it's a V, so it gives 2 prizes. It is a basic. For the first attack, you can just put a trainer card from your discard pile into your hand. It's pretty good. You're going to be using it more than likely. More if you are playing this deck, I would imagine that is a attack you're going to use pretty consistently at a cup or a regional any major event, or just playing tennis. So it's an attack that's good enough. You can use a turn 1 supporter, then get it back. It's solid for sure. And then you have the second attack. The main reason why you're using it is the Wicked Claws. It does 10 base damage for 2 dark, and then 60 more for each damage counter on your opponent's active. So the biggest downside, we'll start with downsides, is the cost. Not the worst. 2 is fine, but you only have 170 hit points. That's pretty bad. You're going to be taken out pretty easily. But basically you're just trying to do a better prize trade, and because your attack can hit some pretty good numbers. But the problem is there's no good way to accelerate dark. You have to do 2 manuals, as far as I know. There's one option we'll talk about in a second, but generally just the 2 manuals and having to get a bench one ready, and it could definitely get in the way. Since there's no dark patch, you can't even use counter gain because it's not colorless, just dark. So that's the big stamp on this. However, and there's a couple of things, but however, I think 2 is fine. Not 3. Obviously, 3 would be unplayable, but 2 is good enough. If it was 1, it would be too broken, because the damage can really spike. So 10 base, obviously not good. 60, but you don't want to. This is not some you're gonna make a 2-shot. Sableye can't do 2 shots because its hit points are too bad and has nothing to keep it alive. Sableye wants to do 1-shots. And so the reason how you can turn that into 1-shots is a couple other ways. First, we scroll right up to Mr. Galarian Zigzagoon. Whenever you just play him from your hand to your bench, you put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So just playing that, boom, straight down once, lets you turn that 60 into a 70. Still not great, obviously, but if you did 4, and not something you can reuse, but I'll definitely play a couple. Maybe not 3, or maybe not 4, but possibly. Again, just kind of depends. But 1 retreat cost is nice. It's just a basic. It's easy to get out. But I would play 3 or 4 of these to try to just do a 1, almost just kind of a 1 big all at once. If you play 4, you would be able to get 4 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. A little unrealistic, however, that would then turn Sableye's attack into 250, which is a lot better than just a measly 10. Then the other way, you do have Shrine of Punishment that hurts EX and GXs, We're not sure how much that's going to be, depending on how big V's are. I think they're going to be kind of big, but it is a possibility. The other more consistent way, the better way, the way that makes this deck a little better than just Sableye and Zigzagoon is going to be coughing or wheezing with Roxy. So whenever there's a coughing, there's a wheezing, has the exact same ability. If you discard him from Roxy, which lets you discard up to 2 non-GX Pokemon from your hand, which is specifically non-GX Pokemon, so it will let you do V, which is nice. So definitely something you're going to play 4 of in this deck. But with wheezing or coughing, you can put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. And that math is going to help. This is a lot more doable, I think, than playing 4 Zigzagoons in one turn. Let's say if you're able to double coughing or wheezing, I don't know how much you'd play. Actually, you'd probably play wheezing, and on second thought, you would play wheezing because that's the same ability, but you can't start with it. So I just picked coughing because it was the baby and has a really cool art with Roxy. However, you would definitely want to play wheezing because you don't want to start with this. This is just something you want to discard with Roxy. So 4 wheezing, maybe I'd still play a couple coughing, but guaranteed 4 wheezing for sure. 4 Roxy. If you're able to pull off the double wheezing, you can draw, not only drawing 6 cards, you're also doing 20 spread to everyone, setting up things for Sableye later in the game, and then even just that same turn. If you're able to play two Zigzagoon and the double wheezing, does get you 250 again. There may be something you kind of want to slow burn with, playing your Zigzagoons, playing your wheezings with Roxy, and then once things are kind of built up, then attacking with Sableye. Maybe some good spread that you can do with Dark Energy. I don't know if there's a Dark Energy, just like a Jet Punch type effect or something. Some sort of dark Pokemon that there might be. I think there's another Sableye. There's a baby Sableye that does, I think, like 80 or 100 for 1 dark whenever he's attacked or killed or something like that. So that's definitely a possibility. That would set up a nice knockout later. But something like that. Excuse me, yawn. I think could work out. You would probably want to have another different kind of attacker. Healing is obviously going to really destroy you, depending on how big that gets. But it's a really interesting card. You can technically, with V's, you can technically lose 3 of these. 2 retreat cost isn't great. It's going to be better to be 1, but it's weak to grass, and I think grass is a completely fine weakness. And the fact that all dark and fighting are now weak to grass, I think all fighting, I believe, and all dark, which is new, and could make grass a little more valuable. Right now there's not a whole lot of grass Pokemon, I think, but the fact that grass have gained a bunch of more things that can hit hard is going to be interesting for sure. But yeah, this is a card that I would look out for. I think it could definitely be, it's a playable card for sure. Tier. It could possibly be a tier, probably not gonna be a tier 1. I could be wrong, but that is how I personally would play base. I probably wouldn't play Shrine. I'd probably just play the wheezing, and the Zigzagoon, and then some other things to kind of do some spread, do some setup damage, and then come in with Sableye later. The very last card that I would play, he's up here to help a little better because you don't want to miss an attack, especially when your hit points are that low and that squishy, is my boy BD. I don't know why I just want to look at him, but nope, just want to pull up. Anyway, what BD lets you do is BD just attach a basic energy card from your hand to one of your bench. Not the most fantastic thing in the world. However, again, because you are squishy with the low hit points, and you have 2 energy and no other way to accelerate outside of BD, I think for sure you're going to want to play this. I'd probably play a Jirachi. I'd probably play a Jirachi engine at the moment. Just Jirachi, Zigzagoon, Sableye, Wheezing. That's whatever else. It's kind of how I would run this, with a couple 4 Roxy, and a couple BD, probably like 2 BD. That's something you want to do a lot, because you especially won't be Roxying, but it could just help you kind of set up early game, or mid-game, just whenever, I would absolutely not, at the moment, not play this without BD. But again, the nice thing about being a V is if you do need to kind of set up, there's not a whole lot of gusting right now. We'll see if people start going back to custom catchers. I personally will. I think, again, depends how the meta shifts. You don't really know. I know there's Japanese lists. Japan has his cards, so maybe we do kind of know. I haven't seen a whole lot of Japanese lists, just a little bit. But that is my thoughts on Sableye, not BD, but Sableye. So let me know in the comments down below what you think, if you like this style of video, if you like Mr. Sableye, if I'm wrong and there's a better way to build it, or if the card's trash and I just shouldn't even bring them up. That is all for now. This is Cody with Search My Deck, TCG, signing out. Have a good night.